Hey everyone, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now, in this particular video, I want you to do one thing for me, just for the purpose of this video. I want you to stop guessing your audience. Stop guessing your audience and get to know how to truly understand your ideal clients. Because if you don't, well, it's the difference between you hitting and hoping, throwing everything at that virtual wall or whatever kind of wall it is for yourself. Fingers crossed, something's going to land for somebody, versus you actually hitting the nail on the head with problems, with resolutions and sources of representations that your audience actually gets because they see themselves in you and what it is that you're talking about. That's the difference right there. And when you start addressing key things, especially what I'm about to talk about within this video, when you start addressing these key things, you're going to notice differences. You're going to notice differences not only in them meaning your audience, them meaning your people, but also differences in you, right? You're going to know how to make sure you are standing true to your standards and your beliefs in a way that's always going to be congruent to what it is that you're doing. Now, with that in mind, make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe to this channel, because I share content just like this. I share content that allows you to understand, number one, what branding is and is not, but also number two, how you can make those better connections with your actual audience, your ideal audience, so they get to know and understand why you are the right fit for them. Now, you can only do that when you address key and specific things. Some of the things I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, but also knowing first and foremost that you are more than what you see. You're also an example of a way forwards. And when you know and get to grips with that, you're going to start showing up in a way that best represents you, best represents your brand, and best represents how it is that you can actually help all those that you are addressing and wanting to help in the first place. So with that in mind, once again, make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe to the channel. And on that note, make sure that you stick around to this very end of this video, because when you do so, I'm going to be sharing with you some key principles that I want to make sure that you get, and not only do you get, you use as well. So stick around to the very end, get to know what they are, and folks, without further ado, let's just get stuck into it. So as I shared with you, we're going to be talking about how to make sure that you stop guessing your audience, but more specifically, know how to understand your ideal clients, right? And in order to do that, you've got to be a little bit on the mindset of like Spotify or even Netflix. That means by understanding your audience's preferences, and by picking up on one key thing and paying attention to what that is, you then get to establish, oh, these are the other things that I know that they're going to really appreciate and understand, simply because you now know who the right audience actually is, and address obviously their demographic, where they're hanging out, and then some. But you've also got to tap into your inner child and think back to your key safety rules. Stop, look, and listen. So that's stop, look, and listen. Really draw back to that, because here's why. The first point, when it comes to stop, you need to stop addressing everyone, okay? You need to stop that, because like I shared with you at the beginning of this video, when you're addressing everyone, you're addressing no one. So let's be super focused on that. Who it is that you're helping? Who are these people? You know, I always talk about the idea of service-based business owners. Now, of course, I could really niche even further into that, but I know that still covers a key specific audience. So who is it for yourself? Now, when we're talking about look, I want you to look at the problem. The problem meaning the key things that people are typically experiencing. People meaning your people meaning your audience, okay? What are they typically experiencing, and they're wanting to make sure that they make a shift or make some kind of a move out of that problem. What is the problem? Everybody has a typical problem within your audience pool, so make sure you are super key on that, which is why I was saying you got to know your VPV as well as your demographic and exactly where they're going to be hanging out. So you've got to address those problems, the basic problems. What are they? For me, service-based business owners, typical problems. They don't know how to stand out. They don't know how to show up. They also don't know even where to start. Key basic problems right there. And also, just a little tip here, by the way, folks, when you are sharing content which actually addresses this type of thing or addresses this type of subject, right? Please do not lead with the service you offer. Simply because people don't always know exactly who you are or why it is that you do what you do yet. Okay, so you've got to just help them to understand a few other things first. You've got to help them to understand that you actually get the basis of their problems. They need to know that before they stick around and actually want to pay attention. So help them to start thinking as to why you are the expert in your field, and more specifically, how it is that you can actually help them. Help them to understand past experiences, help them to understand your credibility, help them to decide for themselves as to why you are the right fit for them. And then finally, when we talk about listen, right? So that's stop, look, and listen. When it comes to listen, as much as you understand the basics of their problem, continue to listen before you actually lead. Now, what I actually mean by that, I'm talking about the idea of making sure that, okay, I understand the basics of this problem, but here's what I've also heard within my audience pool. Here's what I also know that they're actually sometimes suffering with. And here's what I also know that sometimes with the basics as to what they're talking about, I'm talking about the type of language that they're actually using. I know what my solution is towards that. So I'm going to share that. Share your solution. Obviously, don't give the whole game away, but share a little something that allows them to move forwards and take that one step closer to wanting to engage and to want to make sure that they find out even more about what it is that you do. And there's a question that I actually want to raise with you right now. So this is something that depending on the time that you're actually watching this particular video, I'm actually working on a brand authority scorecard, which allows my audience to literally just go ahead and just answer a few questions. It's essentially a quiz, which gives them a score at the end of it. One of the questions that I'm actually going to be asking and addressing is, how much do people trust you before they speak or even engage with you? Okay? So the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because the listening part really plays a key role right here. So if you are not listening, once again, to the type of language they're using, to the current problems that they are facing, to what it is that they're actually experiencing. Now, when I talk about actually experiencing, it could be anything from topical issues, how it's making them feel, what's making them hold back from actually making a move forwards. If you're not paying attention to what those key things are, well, then you're going to be missing the mark and you're going to be losing out on opportunities with those specific ideal clients, okay? So draw attention to that. Perk up your ears a little bit, right? As much as you want them to do the same, how about you listen to them? Listen to where they're at, listen to what it is that they're currently experiencing, and then know and understand what it is that you can do to address that problem with your solution based on the service that you offer. So there's many ways around this, folks. So the key way that I actually do, for example, I will always obviously pay attention to what's going on in the world, because I know when it comes to branding, it will cause people to really draw on the myth that branding is a bit of a luxury thing to have versus a necessity to have. So I will pay attention to obviously what's going on in the world, but also make an address to it. So for example, during the time of the pandemic, right, there were ways or things that people were just tapping into, but they were also holding back on quite a lot as well. But that made me then understand this is how I can actually relate to them and understand them, right? So I drew attention to the idea of the pandemic. Call it out. When you have an experience like the pandemic and then some, right, it allows you to understand, you know, what the person is feeling. Tap into those emotions. Some of you may not like doing so, but you're gonna have to, right? And I'm not talking about you be your audience's therapist. No, I'm not talking about that unless that's your profession. I'm talking about making sure that you really get it as to what it is that they're feeling, being empathetic towards that, but also knowing how with your product and your service you can actually help with helping them to get out of that state or that even that frame of mind. Because remember, you're always helping them to move. So how are you doing so when you're stopping and you're looking and you're listening to all these key things that addresses your ideal audience? So folks, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you go ahead and watch this video again, because I'm pretty sure that there's probably a couple of points that you would have missed out on. So go ahead and watch it again, but also more importantly, share it with other like-minded service-based business owners. Help them to also see these key things. And even if you know them, I hope it's been a great reminder for yourself. Please also do this next thing. go ahead and click on the first link underneath this particular video, because when you do so, again, not only is it going to be a great reminder, but also it's going to keep that momentum going to allow you to make sure that you are hitting the nail on the head when it comes to addressing those problems, when it comes to making sure that when you're stopping, looking and listening, you know exactly who you're going to be speaking to, why you're speaking to them, but also how you can help them, because you know their problems. Them being your people, them being your audience, you know how you can connect with them. And essentially, folks, this is what branding is about. It's all about building connections. It's all about building representation, but also it's building on a reputation that others can see, to know and recognize that you are the expert rather than just being another business. So go ahead and click on that link, get your principles, and make sure that you actually tap into each and every one of those principles, because it will help you to level up even more so. And with all that in mind, folks, I'm going to leave it there, and I will see you on the other side.